I've been reacting to a lot of Thomas Sowell lately. I told you guys I was interested. I'm going to start reading the books, all of that. Want to check him out. So I found this video where he's dismantling feminism. Y'all know how I feel about feminism, especially new wave feminism. Let's check this out. Don't forget to hit the like button, drop some comments as well, share the video. And after this, check out my Thomas Sowell playlist. Oh, yeah. Let's get into it. Hit the like button.
Men and women. From Economic Facts and Fallacies. I'm quoting you to yourself, Tom. Quote, "It is widely believed that the rise of American women in high-level occupations since the 1960s has been due to anti-discrimination laws, and that these, in turn, have been due to the feminist movement. In reality, the proportion of women in high-level occupations was greater during the first decades of the 20th century than in the middle of the 20th century, and all of this was before the feminist movement." Explain.
Yes, in the first half of the 20th century, for example, in 1908, the percentage of women in who's who in America was twice what it was in 1950. And various fields, if you look at the women who got PhDs in economics, chemistry, who got law degrees, other postgraduate degrees, those were all higher in the 20s and 30s than they were in the 50s. And there was a very...
That's beast. So it's like when they weren't going crazy and doing like protests, they were doing better. Let me hear some more of this.
Simple reason for it. Women in those days got married later.
Oh,
in the early years.
In the early years,
right?
Over time, the age of marriage and the age of beginning to have children began to decline. And the classic era was, of course, the era of the baby boom, and that's when women hit a low in their proportion of the postgraduate degrees. And in the professions in which those degrees would be used. Now, around 19...
Then he cooking. Yo, the guy asking questions ain't even got time to even... Tom is like, let me get you some knowledge real quick. All right. Back in 1750... like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The wall stopped moving now. Like you back then. It's like a book. This is awesome. He kicking knowledge, man. I got to read some of his books.
56.
Recommend one to me in the comments section.
The age of marriage began rising. And in 1957, the age of having children rose, strangely enough. And as that rise continued, you saw women rising again in these various professions. So that now one of the professions, they reached in 1972 the same proportion they had back in 1932. And as the age of marriage kept rising and as the number of children kept falling, women went on to higher and higher levels.
So it fluctuated and then shot up.
Now, the people on the other side say the opposite by the simple expedient of looking as if the world began in 1960. And they ignore all the rest of that, and they say it's all due to the feminist movement.
And that's usually what feminists, especially new wave, do. All wokies in general, they will just take the, I guess, specific. I'm high. Don't mind my slur. They'll take that stat, right? That pertains to only the one that makes them look good, right? And they'll just highlight that. In this exact date, on this time, it was like this. And it's like, okay, what about the rest? That's why I like Thomas Sowell. He'll give you the whole timeline, not just one statement of at this exact moment and this time on this day, it was like this. So that means everything's like that. No. He'll give you the timeline. He'll give you the timeline and transitions.
Any discrimination laws and so forth.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm going to quote you again. Among the many factors which influence male-female economic differences, the most elusive is employer discrimination.
Yes, that when you correct for all the various factors,
break it down.
As the number of hours worked, the continuous employment versus taking a few years out to have children and so on.
There's mad things people not thinking about. Yeah. It wouldn't add up, right? It wouldn't like equate.
You take all that into account, the differences between men and women become quite trivial. If you look at the academic world, or as far back as 1969, women who had never married and who had earned higher incomes than men who had never married. They became a tenured professor at a higher rate than men who had never married. And then later on, if you look at the general population, if you take the women who are paired.
Bet you they was masculine as hell. bet you they was masculine as hell. They walked up in the classroom like that. They walked in like that, shoulders all out. bumping anybody in their way. Just bumping anywhere. Real tough. 5 o'clock shadow.
After childbearing years, who worked continuously, their incomes were higher than men who would work continuously, and so on. So the difference is that not that the employer is paying them differently, but that they have different characteristics.
So the central variable in explaining economic differences between men and women is not employer discrimination, not the rise of feminism. It's that women, it's
work less hours, paternity leave, a bunch of other things. Take jobs that are not like high paying, right? Like construction. There are women construction workers, but not to the degree of men. A lot of like what they would classify as men jobs, women don't want to do, right? Or I should say, majority of women don't want to do. There's the exceptions, right?
It's child rearing,
but they don't account that.
That's
when they say stats.
That varies. A women's arrival or participation rate in high-level occupations varies with that. That's
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, in principle, you note, family responsibilities could be perfectly evenly divided between fathers and mothers. But that isn't the way it has worked in practice. Quote, I'm quoting you again, since economic consequences follow from practices rather than principles, the asymmetrical division of domestic responsibilities produces male-female differences in income, close quote.
Damn.
Question, what are the policy implications of that?
Kick it. No fear on his face. Now he like, what's up? I said it. What's good? No fear, man. This dude is like an expert. Not like it. He is one.
If we become fixed on eliminating...
Yeah, I said they had shoulder pads on.
...income differences, is it the case that
funny.
The only choice, the only route for doing that is to involve the government in redesigning the very nature of the family?
Well,
or am I leaping to a melodramatic conclusion?
No. Yeah, and it's, logically that's certainly true. However, not all domestic responsibilities can be shared equally, such as having babies, which is not an inconsequential thing since the human race depends on it. But
shut that down quick as hell. Quicker before you even got into it, like, let me just, for one, can't do this.
But what it means is that women make choices that make a lot of sense for them. For example, the choice of occupations, that women tend not to go into occupations in which there's a very high rate of obsolescence. I mean, and if you're a computer engineer and you take 5 years out to have a child and have the child up to the age where you can put him in daycare, well, my gosh, the world has changed.
It's going to change.
You'd have to start way back. On the other hand, if you become a librarian, you become a teacher, other occupations like that, then you can take your 5 years off, come back, and pick up pretty much where you left off.
That's true. Wow. I didn't even think about that. And that makes mad sense. Right? Why pick those type of jobs when you wouldn't be able to take that type of leave? Teachers and all that stuff, they going to be here for as long as I know, unless they start letting robots do that. That's going to be great. There's a lot of things robots are going to start replacing, bro. I see the McDonald's, it was like the first robot McDonald's or something like that. I forgot where it was at. But I watch videos where you just come in and it's like no workers, right? It might be like maybe one or two in the back, like helping the machines make stuff, but the machines are cooking, taking orders, everything, right? It's crazy. There's a wild world we're heading to. So you got to start making preparations, certain fields and certain jobs, man. Yeah, times are changing. Definitely times are changing. But everything that Thomas Sowell had to say, I agree with, man. I agree. He was kicking facts. This is stuff that people don't want to hear, man. They don't want to hear that. And it was like fearless too. Just out the gate. What's up? I said, yeah. I'll say it again. I'll say it even harsher right now. I like that type of energy. That's what I'm rocking with. Check out my Thomas Sowell playlist. Hit the like button. Watch more videos. Drop some comments as well. And if you want to check me out on other stuff, I got Twitter, Instagram. I have a live stream channel as well. Go and check that out.